begin with a few versions of the supported fish pose on the blocks. So let me show you version 1. And for version 2, you'll want a strap. And let's actually just have the strap set up so we can do it when we get there. So the strap, you'll just fold it in half and have the two tails heading back in the direction of where your head will be. And we're not going to worry about them yet, but it'll be ready for later. All right. Oh, yeah. And if you're at home, if you could mute yourself, that'd be great. And then we'll start with this first version here of the blocks going across, horizontal. And I'll suggest low. If you wanted to go higher, you can. We are going to go higher for the next one, so you can start low if you like. And then for the head block, that can be any height that feels good. So for the moment, we'll just come down and we want to set up this lower block so that it's right about under the shoulder blades, the flat part of the blades. And the other one supports your head. Yeah, and then we'll just be here. You can have legs bent or straight, or you can have the feet kind of wide and the knees knock in. Whatever feels good in the lower body is fine. And then here in the upper body, think about just relaxing through the collarbones in the front and allowing the arms to drop down and just land where they land. And think about a nice open space across the front of the chest. And softness around the throat. Let's take a few easy breaths, allowing the body just to move any way that it moves when you breathe. And then a few options here for the arms. If you want to just stay here and be still, do that. If you want a little movement, one option is to take kind of a snow angel pattern. Hopefully the strap doesn't get in your way. And then another option here, I call it the sea monster asana. The arms just move in slow, random ways. And you could mix and match, do a little bit of each. And whatever you're doing with the arms, see if you can just notice what's going on in your shoulder blades. When the arms move, the shoulder blades move, or at least they should. Yeah. All right. And then let's everybody take the arms just right in front of the chest, slight little bend in the elbows, and slowly let the arms separate, but still keep your fingers in your peripheral vision. You're holding a giant beach ball. And then we'll bring them back to center and do that a few times. And notice here how you feel the shoulder blades moving. Yeah. All right. And then from here, friends, let's release the arms. Just let them relax. And to get out of the position here, press down into the forearms and see if you can sit up leading through the chest, not leading from the head. Yeah, you might get a little head rush on the way up. Okay, so our next position here will be a slight change in the blocks. So the first block will now have vertical, and I've put mine up a notch. If you know that that's going to be okay, you'll stay there. If you know that you'd rather not go higher, you can have it the lower one. And then same thing for the head block. You could have it the same height or one notch higher. Now, here's where the strap will come into play. I think I'll just talk you through it as we go. So we'll come down to lay down, and this front edge of the block goes right at the spine, right at the bottom tip of the shoulder blades. Yeah, and it might be a little pokey at first. I've got the nice soft blocks here in the studio. And actually that head one needs to go a little lower, I think. Yeah, so take a second just to settle into this new position, and it'll likely feel like a bigger arc through the upper back. Legs can do whatever you want here. All right, so let's find our strap by doing this. Take the arms off the floor, bend the elbows, and see if you can find the right strap in the right hand and the left strap in the left hand. And walk the arms down the strap a little so they're closer to the shoulders. The elbows are pretty bent. And don't pull hard, but very lightly give the strap a little tug. And feel what happens in your body when the elbows go wide apart. And then when the elbows point up towards the ceiling. Do that a few times. Yeah. So we're mostly going to be working with the elbows pointing to the ceiling here. So let's pause there. Slide the hands a little bit, give a little more slack on the strap. The elbows are still bent. And then again, give a slight tug. Keep the elbows hugging in towards the midline a little. And start to re-lengthen the arms. And they won't go completely straight, but they'll go almost straight. Yeah. So it's a little bit of work. And then we'll add on to this. If it feels all right, just stretch the legs long. Do that and reach outward through the heels as you drop backward through the arms. And the elbow tips are still rotating up towards the ceiling. Yeah. All right. And then very gently here, let's let go of the strap, relax the feet. You can stay here for a moment if you like, still or moving. Any kind of movement is fine. Ooh, I like this. You might like this too. Try it out. Bend the elbows out to the side, and then move the elbow tips towards your hips, and then out to the side again, like you're flapping your wings. And you might get a nice little massage in between the shoulder blades here. Yeah. All right. And then from here, friends, we're coming up to get rid of the blocks. Press into the floor, sit up. Pull the blocks out of the way and then return to lay down on your back. And we'll just spend a little time here after being on the blocks to come back to neutral again. Yeah, and notice how you've landed, how the body feels. You can sense your shoulder blades. And take a few breaths and notice anything significant about your breath. Yeah, so we'll do one more thing down here, maybe two more things. Take the arms right in front of your chest, straight-ish arms, and then go slightly lower towards your feet, maybe just an inch or two. Now, in this position, can you reach the arms away from you and feel how the shoulder blades move a little bit apart? And then can you draw the arm bones back down and feel the shoulder blades move onto the back? Do that a few times. So you reach out, and then come back. Now, as you're doing this, try not to shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. Keep some nice space on your neck. Good. All right, and then let's stay next time you're in the down position. Take a little bend in the elbows. Tone through the belly, and slowly here, let the arms separate, but you'll keep the fingers in your peripheral vision. Yeah. And then if you have straight legs, reach outward, forward through the heels. Activate through the legs. Keep the belly toned. And then we'll let the legs relax, let the arms just drop down to the floor. Take a little head turn if that feels good, a little bit of movement here. Yeah. All right. And then let's bring the knees in towards your chest. Just give yourself a little squeeze. Take any kind of movement. And then in a second, we'll turn over, we'll actually come up to sit. So you can sit any way that you like. I'm going to sit on block. Up to you. It doesn't, this next thing is about the arms, so just find whatever is comfortable in your seat. Yeah. And then we'll experiment with internal and external rotation. So take the arms in front of you and do kind of like a stop, but you don't have to bend the wrists so much, just a comfortable amount. And then let the hands turn so the fingers go in. This will be internal rotation. And then go the other direction, external rotation. And see if you can let this movement happen all the way up into the shoulder. So it's not just the wrist and the forearm. And notice how we go into internal rotation, the shoulder, it kind of pulls away. And when we go into external rotation, the shoulder plugs in. Do that a few more. Yeah, good. And then let's stay with a little external rotation, not max capacity, just a bit. And from this position, like we did laying down a second ago, reach the arms away from you and then draw them back. And do that a few times. Yeah, we're going to do this later on the hands, weight bear, and it's a little more exciting that way. Good. And then release that, relax the hands, wiggle the fingers. Yeah, let's do this little wrist stretch, Mary's favorite. It's a forearm stretch, actually. So take your right arm in front, and then you'll grasp with the thumb and the fingers. Just you'll give kind of a little squeeze here on the upper part of the forearm. And then just do a little squeeze and release as you bend at the wrist up and down. Yeah, and you might mash the fingers in a little bit. And then let's move the wrist into different positions. So I'm doing almost like a half circle, both directions. You could try that. Yeah. All right. And then relax that. Let's go to the second side here. So bring it across at first, and then just find that little grasp, that little clasp, and then up and down. That's it. And then you can add on any sort of circular motion. And lovingly dig in the fingers there into the forearm. Yeah, we'll be working the forearm later too, so we might do this one again at the end. Let that release and just wiggle around a little bit here. Yeah. Okay, great. So let's turn over, meeting in the all fours position, hands and knees. And at first, let's take a little bit of movement, and this can be anything at all. So maybe a little circle, maybe just good old-fashioned cat-cow. You could figure eight through the spine, through the hips. Yeah. Now keep going with a yogi's choice, but see if you can emphasize movement in the shoulder blades. And this could be anything they want to do. But think about the shoulder blades as initiating whatever movement you're doing. Yeah. Great. All right, friends, let's pause here. Go back to child's pose, but keep the arms forward and perch up onto your fingertips for a second. And imagine that you could lift the center of the palm a little bit more as you squeeze the mat slightly with the fingers. And this next one will be some more work for the forearms. So let's set the hands back down. Return to your all fours position, and then see if you can glue down the finger knuckles, so the 4 fingers on each hand. The thumb knuckle will lift up, and then we'll lift up through the wrist and the palm of the hand going onto the finger knuckles. Oh yeah, and then when we lower down, don't go all the way. Most of the way, but not quite, and then up again. So let's do this a few times. If you're finding this to be, you're not feeling anything, pull the hands in closer to the knees. And if you're finding it to be too much, take the hands a little away from the knees. And, oh yes, hello forearms. Just a few more like that. Yeah. All right, next time the hands come down, let the heel of the hand come down, but still see if you can keep the weight more in the finger knuckles, less in the heel of the hand. Yeah, just for a moment. We'll get off this in a second. All right, head back into your child's pose again, and let's take our spider fingers as a little counter pose. Give the mat a bit of a scrunch up with the hands. Yes. All righty, and then this next one, another version of our forearm thing. This will be different though. Let's come back up and take one arm. So it's the forearm is on the floor, the palm is facing up. And then you can either use the other forearm or the other hand, whatever works. And just very gently give a little squeeze and release. Start closer to the elbow and then start to gradually come down about halfway down the forearm. We won't go all the way to the wrist. And do that a few times, and if you look at the fingers, you might see the fingers curl in every time you give yourself a little squeeze here. Yeah. All right, let's reset, do second side. So the other forearm comes down with the palm facing up, and then you'll grasp either the hand or the other forearm, whatever is more comfortable, and give a little, just a little pressure and release. And don't go all the way to the wrist here, just go about halfway down the forearm, and then back up again towards the elbow crease. Oh, yeah. All right. And then let's reset, coming back to child's pose again. And one more time into our spider fingers, just give the mat a little squeeze with the fingers. And then from here, let's set the hands down, reset into your all fours position. Broaden the collarbones. Lift a little through the belly and through the lower ribs. And see if you can find that action again where you're putting more weight in the finger knuckles and less weight in the heel of the hand. And you don't have to overdo it, just a little bit. Now from here, we've done this already sitting. Can you sink the chest a bit towards the floor? And then press into the floor, rise up, and feel the shoulder blades move a little apart. So down and up we go a couple of times. And just like before, try not to let the shoulders creep up towards your ears. You want a nice long neck the whole time. Good. All right, last one of these. And then shift back again, spider fingers. Let's keep the spider fingers if you can. Reset to your all fours position. Give the mat like a little suction, like you're trying to lift it up with the fingers, and then do cat-cow with the hands in this position. If that's not going to work for you, you can put the hands back down. I actually didn't intend to be such a hand-intensive class today, but here we are. Yeah, and then we'll do another wrist stretch. So let's pause here, put the hands down, take the left hand a little further forward and start to spin the right arm around until the fingers face your knee. And if you can't go that far, then just go to whatever amount you've got. If possible, bend the right elbow in the direction of the fingers and maybe the wrist peels up. You can shift back a little bit if that works. And if you need to have more weight in the left hand, just you choose where you need to be weight-wise. All right, and then we'll release that. Plant the right hand down a little further forward, and then start to rotate the left arm so the fingertips face your knee or any way along the route. And then from here, let the elbow bend, and maybe let the wrist peel up. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. All right, we'll do last one. This will stretch the other side of the wrist. Reset yourself. This time, let's flip the hands over. You can either do one at a time or both so that you're on the backs of the hands, and then just take a tiny little circle or a little side to side. And if you're doing one at a time, just do one for a few cycles and then the other. If you're doing both, you can change the direction of the circles. All right, guys. And then we'll give these hands a little break. Let's come back to center and down onto the belly. Yeah, from here, fold your hands, just make a little pillow for your forehead. Give yourself a little rest. Lengthen the legs back and down, and let the legs take a little wobble from side to side. Yeah. And then from here, let's slide the hands a little further forward. They'll stay stacked, and let the elbows come in slightly. Elbows are still ahead of the shoulders here. Press the arms down into the floor and try to drag the arms back as you pull the chest forward. And from there, start to grow and lengthen. And we'll relax, come back down. Do that 2 more times. So the arms pull back, the chest pulls forward. We lengthen and grow. And then relax down. Last one. Press down, draw back through the arms, forward through the chest. We lengthen. This time, all the way down we come. Rest the forehead again on the hands. Bend the knees and either take a little windshield wiper side to side, or you can take a little stir, stirring the feet around on the ceiling. Yeah, go both directions if you did the circles. All right, yogis. So when you're ready, let's head back into child's pose again, this time with the toes tucked under and the arms forward. We're about to head into down dog. So keep the hips a little up. Don't go all the way back. Press down into the floor, and without moving your hands, remember that external rotation. Act as if you wanted to turn the hands out, but since they're glued, they're not going to move, and the movement will actually travel up into the shoulder. So find that, yes. And then lift the knees off the floor. Try to press the mat forward with the hands and put the weight into the finger knuckles. Slowly here, start to really lengthen the legs. Yeah, and if you're anything like me, the legs are probably kind of tight. If you want to pedal them out, you can. You can take a little shift from side to side. Yeah, just take whatever you need to do here. Sorry, I keep thinking the door is open, but it's locked, so nobody's here. Maybe it's the White Rock Yoga ghost. All right, and then let's pause here. Separate your feet. Bend the knees and walk your arms back and just prop yourself up for a second with the forearms on the thighs. Give the fingers a little wiggle and the wrists a little movement. They might have just been working more than they're used to, so just take a second there. And then from here, let's come up a little and take the hands on the outside of the thighs, close to the knees but not at the knees, and press apart through the upper thighs, and counter that by pressing the arms in a little bit. Yeah, we'll just hold for a second. And Eileen, if this doesn't feel good to you, leave it out, but we'll see. Yeah. Now keep a little bit of this outward pressure. Add on by rooting down through the ball of the big toe. And then we'll let go with the arms. Use the inhale to rise, grow nice and tall. And on the exhale, release the arms. Yeah. All right, guys, so let's stand with the feet just right underneath you and take a couple hula hoops, circling the hips around. You can have a slight little bend in the knees. That's it, and then we'll go the other direction. Good. Okay, let that one settle. And then go get your 2 blocks, and if you only have the one, well, I think you both have 2 because we did the other thing. If you're at home and you only have one, you just do it with the one. But let's hold the blocks. You'll kind of click them together like this. And when you press on them, you want to be even so they don't buckle on you. Yeah? All right. So the arms are in front of you and slightly down from the shoulders. And just give the blocks a little squeeze in towards each other. And then you'll back off the pressure, but not so much that they fall. Do that a few times with a light little squeeze. And then this is very subtle, but as you squeeze, can you squeeze slightly more through the pinky side and slightly less through the thumb side? And see if that changes what you're feeling in the shoulders. Yeah. Let's pause here, holding the squeeze, holding the pressure. Keep the collarbones broad. Keep the low ribs contained. And then slowly start to bend the elbows. Don't let them go out to the side. Keep them in close to the body as the blocks draw back. Yeah, it's kind of like a standing chaturanga. And then we'll re-straighten the arms. Go just back off as you do that. And then again, we'll squeeze a little more with the pinkies. Tone through the core. Collarbones are broad. And as we bend the elbows, keep them in. Drop back. Let's do just one more of those. Let the arms come forward. Little squeeze, more with the pinky side. And then the elbows bend, keeping the elbows close to the body. All right. And then let's release the blocks. Just set them down. Okay. Yeah, the hands might need to move a little, the hips, the shoulders. I'm a big wiggle fan, so whatever you need to wiggle around is fine. All right, yogis. Let's come to the top of the mat, and this time have the feet about hips width distance apart. We'll do that same idea of pressing out through the thighs. So let's bend the knees, bring the hips back. Don't go too low here, and take the hands to the outer thighs and press out like we did before. And counter that by rooting down through the ball of the big toe. Think of the inner groins here just relaxing, softening down and back. Yeah. All right, one more breath in. On the exhale, let's take a forward fold. You can release the arms. If you want to move a little bit here, that's fine. If not, just be still for a second. When you're ready, halfway lift. Let's move the chest forward, and then we'll come back and down into plank pose, but we'll go onto the knees once you get there. And have it be really a plank on the knees and not just an all fours. So the knees are further back than the hips. Can we broaden the collarbones here, lift up through the belly, and then try to externally rotate through the hands, but the hands are glued so they don't move, and see if you can feel that up into the shoulders. Yeah, great. Now from here, we'll do those scapular push-ups. Let the chest sink a little towards the floor, arms stay straight, and then press into the floor and lift. Do that 2 more times. Keep the head in line with the rest of the spine. And then the next time we're pressing, stay, bend the elbows, and lower, maybe bend them like an inch. Yeah. And then ease your way down. We'll come all the way down to the belly. Take a little break here. Let's fold the hands, rest the forehead down. Give the legs a little wiggle from side to side. Yeah. All right. And then let's do this for the hands. Stretch the arms back with the backs of the hands to the floor. Curl the fingers in so you make a loose fist. Bend at the wrist so the back of the hand peels up off the floor. And just hold this for a second. It's not a tight fist. It's just a little bit. Yeah. And then we'll let the fingers go, but keep the backs of the hands to the floor. Can you lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor? The collarbones broaden. Yeah. And then we'll come back down. You can either hover the head or turn the head to one side. Curl the fingers in again. Bend at the wrist. Back of the hand peels up off the floor. That's it. And then release the fingers. Broaden the collarbones. Lift the front of the shoulders. Let's also lift the arms and turn the palms of the hands towards the legs. Keep the pelvis anchored down and the thighs anchored down for this version. Yes. Last one. Down you come. Curl up through the fingers, bend at the wrists. Hold out for a second. Don't hold your breath. Yeah. And then we'll release the fingers. Lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor. The upper back is engaged. And then up we come, palms turn towards the legs. If you want to lift the legs here, go ahead and do. We're flying faster than a speeding bullet. And then reset, hands under the shoulders, lower the legs down. Let's go back to child's pose, but keep the hips a little bit lifted. Toes tucked under. Yeah, now just like we did before, can you rotate the arms so it's like the hands are trying to turn, but they can't. Keep that, lift the knees off the floor. Push the weight more into the knuckles, towards the fingers as the hips drop back. And then lengthen the legs here, coming into our downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Yeah. Now let's do this. Slight tiny bend in the knees. Pretend you have another set of hands and have them on the outer thighs. Press the outer thighs apart. Counter that in the lower legs by firming in a little bit. Just enough so the weight's even on your feet. And then we lengthen the legs, keeping that idea, that press apart through the upper thighs. Yes. And then to get out of this, friends, let's meet in a standing forward fold. Any way you want to do it. Bend the knees a little bit. Inhale, we grow tall. And give the wrists a few little circles as you release the arms down. Yeah, and just any kind of movement anywhere you want. Okay. So for the next sequence here, we'll be doing some lunges. You might want blocks for your hands, and you might want a blanket for the back knee. And if this is feeling crummy on the inner groin, do barely any movement. And if that's feeling okay, make it a little bigger. But if it's not feeling good, then you'll leave this part out. So let's start here at the front of the mat. Feet can touch, or you can keep a little space, up to you. Let's inhale the arms up. Exhale, down we go, forward fold. Come up halfway, we'll lengthen. On the way down, let's step the right leg back, keep the knee off the floor for the moment. Also, another idea is to have a shorter stance if it's giving too much pull in the groin, so that's an option too. So in this position here, let's take left hand on the outer thigh and press leg into hand, hand into leg. Counter that action by rooting down through the ball of the big toe. Can you, like a telescope, move the rib cage forward? And then if it feels all right on the right arm to let go, you can let the arm stretch back. If that's no good, keep it down. And if you still want more, you can take the right arm straight out forward on the diagonal. The left leg is still doing its thing. Yes, yogis. Down comes the right arm, down comes the left arm. Let's set the back knee down. And in any version of this, back and forth we go on the front leg. Yeah, you could take the blocks back if you wanted to. Foot could stay planted on the floor. You could lift up going onto the heel. Sky's the limit here. There's a few different options. Yeah. All right. Let's pause the next time the front leg is your version of straight, and I'll recommend taking the arms back. Now, if we want more of a stretch through the back of the leg, we would pull the toes up, but for now, we're actually going to do something a little different. Bring the sole of the foot to or towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch completely. And then bend at the ankle so the ankle bows in. It's a sickled foot position. Yeah, let's keep that. Can you drop back through the pelvis, forward through the chest? And if you want extra, you can walk the arms towards the left, either a little bit or all the way to the outside of the leg. Oh, yes, yogis. One more time, can you move the pelvis and the chest in opposite directions? Yeah. So, a few ways you might feel this. Some of you will feel it in the outer upper leg. Some of you will feel it on the top of the shin, and maybe some of you in the top of the foot. And if you're lucky, you'll get all three. Yeah, let's reset. Re-walk the arms in. Re-bend the front knee here. Let's tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and return to this lunge variation. If you are on the blocks, we'll move them out of the way. Now we're going for another round of those plank scapula push-ups. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you'll do a straight leg plank. Otherwise, you'll put the knees back down on the floor. Everybody, broaden the collarbones, lift the belly. Try to do that external rotation, so without moving the hands, they turn away from the midline. Keep that, and then a little bit we sink the chest down, and then we press and lift up. And do that a few times, not too many. Good. All right, let's lower the knees down. Come all the way down to the belly. Rest the forehead on the hands. We'll do another one of these here. Yeah, just take a little breather. Wiggle the legs. If you want to do windshield wipers, that's an option too. Yeah, so we'll do our Shalabhasana that we did last time, but without the hand thing. Stretch the arms straight back, and this time have just the tips of the thumbs to the floor. Lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor so the collarbones broaden. Keep that as you lift the arms, lift the legs. Draw back through the toes and forward through the chest. Yeah, Shalabhasana. If you wanted to add in something here, you can do a slow motion lift and lower of the arms, keeping them straight. A little extra work for the triceps. And if you want to add on to that, you can turn the palms to face down and do a few more rounds of the lift and lower. Now, if you start to feel aggravation in the neck, back off or skip it entirely, just so the neck can stay happy and long. All right, let's take the arms forward, come all the way down for a sec, just take a little rest, a little wobble. Yes, you guys. And then to get out, we'll head into downward facing dog. Take your time to get there. Once you do, little bend in the knees, press the mat down and forward with the hands. Press your thighs apart right at the very top and hug in slightly through the lower legs and or the ankles just to realign. Inner groins, let them be soft as they roll back and up a little. That's very subtle. And then slowly start to re-lengthen the legs. Yeah. Okay. And then to get out of this, let's come to the front of the mat. We'll stay down there in the forward fold. If your blocks wandered off, you can go find them again. Take a halfway lift. And then down with a slight little bend. And do that 2 more times. Great. Now the last time here, let's step the left leg back, setting up for our lunge. For the moment, we'll keep the back knee off the floor. Front knee stays bent, and of course, if you need to shorten your stance for your own body today, that's fine. Take the right hand to the outside of the thigh. Press thigh and hand into each other and root down through the ball of the big toe. Draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest. And you can either stay right here or take the left arm back. Right side still is doing its thing. Maybe the left arm comes forward and out on the diagonal. If that's too much, don't do it. Yeah. Release the arm, release the other arm. Set the back knee down. And then yogi's choice for a moment here. Back and forth we go, any way you want to do it. Yeah. And then we'll take this long hold. So the pelvis shifts back. Let's take the arms back a little bit. And bring the sole of the foot either to the floor or towards the floor. It doesn't have to touch. Bend at the ankles so the toes bow in a little to the left. And then from here, draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest. This side for me is a lot tighter. I'm probably going to stay put. If you're up for a little more, walk the hands slightly forward and slightly to the right, maybe outside of the leg. If that's not a great idea, just stay put. Yeah. Just notice where you're feeling this. Maybe it's the upper leg, maybe it's the side of the shin, the top of the foot. Maybe it's something I didn't think of. Yeah. All right, guys. To get out, let's reset, rebend the front knee, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. This time, yay, we're gonna skip the plank and go straight into downward facing dog. So just when you're ready to get there, make your way into the position. We'll add in a calf stretch while we're here. Let's bring the feet a little closer together and also a little forward. Not a lot, just a bit. And try to sink the right heel down as you bend the left. Yeah, if it feels good to add in a small little shift right and left, you can add that. And then we'll reset, straighten out the left leg and bend the right knee. The left heel sinks to or towards the floor, and we do a little side to side. Yeah. All right. And then let's come out of this, adjust so you can come forward and down onto the belly. Down we come. Just take a little rest again. If you need to stretch out the hands or circle the wrists, take a moment. All right, and then we'll just do a simple quad stretch. So let's lengthen the legs back and down, just at first to give some room. And then we'll bend up the right knee and hold on to the foot or the ankle. Yeah, as you're in this position, try to press the center of the right thigh down towards the floor and at the same time lift up a little through the belly. That's it. We'll change sides, letting go of the right and finding the left. And same thing, press down through the center of the thigh gently. It's not aggressive as you lift up through the low belly. Yeah, down comes the leg. We'll stay down here. Just create a little wobble, a little movement from side to side. And then from here, we'll head into downward dog. If you want to go through child's pose first, that's fine. We won't stay too long. It's really just a transition. Yeah. And then from here, let's come to the front of the mat. Root down to rise up. Inhale, we grow tall and long. And on the exhale, release the arms down. Yeah, just take a second. Little wiggles. And then we'll use the strap for the next bit. And I never plan this well. Of course, I'm wearing a black shirt and I've got a black strap, but I'll explain it very well. You might not be able to see too well. So let's do this. You'll take the strap behind you, and it's similar to what we did laying on the blocks. Just kind of like it's a towel. You're coming out of the shower here. And you've got it under the armpits. And then so the strap is right in between the thumb and the index finger. and then you'll come into this position. So the elbows are bent, and notice here what happens to the neck when the elbows go wide and versus when the elbows come forward. See how it gives the neck more room? That's what we want. Give a little bit of a tug up, and then again, turn the elbows in. Start to slide the arms up. You won't go completely straight, but almost. And pull up as you relax a little right around the neck and the inner part of the shoulders. It is a bit of work for the hands. Yeah. So we're going to do this in Warrior One. Let the tails just kind of drape back behind you. And we might want blocks later. So let's have the blocks at the front. Hands to the hips. Step the right leg back for Warrior One prep. Both legs are straight. And again, if you need to take a shorter stance or a wider stance, if that feels better today, do it. And then we'll find again this arm position. So you've got a little bend in the elbows. Elbows turn forward. Start to go straighter but not completely straight. And give a little tug up. At the same time, relax the shoulders and let the front ribs soften down. Let's keep this pull up as you bend the front knee. Yeah, you might have to adjust. I always do. Yeah, Virabhadrasana 1. So almost let yourself just be pulled up by the arms as you relax down. Just a little push and pull both directions. That's it. And then from here, let's straighten the front leg, release the strap, just put it down to the side. Take the arms up, slight little bend in the elbows, turn the elbows forward and pretend the strap is still there as you lift up. Yeah, inhale. On the exhale, bend the elbows out to the side, bend the front knee, hinge forward. Do that a few times. So the inhale, we turn the elbows forward, lift up. And then the exhale, elbows go to the side and we hinge. Let's do that one more time. Up. And then hinge. Stay here. Take the hands down. I'm going to go high on my blocks. My hammies are kind of tight today. You can go any height you like. And slowly bend and straighten the front knee. Just any version of this. We did one earlier with the knee down, the back knee down. It's different, huh? When the legs are straight. Let's pause. The next time the front leg is your version of straight, can you extend the front of the spine? Lengthen. And then take a tiny little tail wag, right, left, back and forth. And try to sense your tailbone. And when it feels like the tailbone is right in the middle between the two halves of the pelvis, pause right there. Inhale to lengthen again. And then if it feels good here on the exhale to go lower and maybe bow over, you could. If that doesn't feel good, just stay in this position and every inhale you lengthen and every exhale just back off. If you've gone down, every inhale lengthen. And then every exhale, maybe you bow down a little lower. Good. Now for everybody, if you did bow down, let's reset. So the arms are relatively straight, right under the shoulders. Bend the front knee, turn the back heel up, and step the back foot forward. Let's use the inhale to grow tall. And the exhale to set the arms down. Nice job. Let's do the other side. So go find your strap. And then we'll set it up the same way. So it goes under the armpits. And for now, just drape the tails over the shoulders. And hands are on the hips. We'll step left leg back for our Warrior One prep. And we'll keep both legs straight. From here, let's find the strap right in between the thumb and the index finger. And lift a little, not too high. And notice what happens when the elbows go wide versus when the elbows go forward. Yeah, keep them forward as you go a little straighter in the arms. Pull up, but then relax the shoulders. And as you bend the front knee here, coming into Warrior One, let yourself be pulled up and almost just kind of hang down. So there's a two-directional action going on. See if you can also relax the front ribs down a little so you're not into this big back bend. Yeah. Good. And then let's re-straighten the front leg. Take the strap, just put it to the side. Wiggle the fingers a little. Yeah. All right. And then up come the arms, little bend in the elbow, imaginary strap. Let the elbows turn forward and then help that pull you up. This is inhale. Exhale, elbows bend out to the side, we hinge forward. Do that a few more times. So inhale, the elbows turn forward and we lift. Exhale, we hinge. Yeah, one more time, coming up. And then one more time, we hinge, we'll stay. Lower the hands down on something, probably blocks for most of us. And then we'll slowly go back, back and forth on the front leg. If you need to adjust your stance, either shorter or wider, do what you need to do, especially if you've got a little injury going on. Yes, friends. Let's pause the next time the front leg is straight. Draw back through the pelvis, forward through the chest, the front of the spine. Inhale. On the exhale, either back off a little, or if it feels all right, to lower and bow over the leg. So every inhale, a little bit of length. And then every exhale, either back off or bow down, lower. You choose. A couple more of those. Nice job, guys. Let's pause in the flat back, straight arm position. Bend the front knee, spin the back heel up, step the back leg forward. We'll root down to rise up, grow nice and tall, nice and long. And then release the arms down. Yeah, let's take some hula hoops here. Just go around a little circle. You can have a slight bend in the knees. That might feel good. And then go the other direction. Yeah. All right. So from here, let's do just kind of a manual, I'll talk you through it. Stand with the feet just a bit wider than you normally stand, but not really wide. It's less than mat's width here. You'll bend the knees slightly, bring the hips back a little, and crisscross the forearms. The hands will slide high up to the inner thighs, and the forearms will rest on the tops of the legs. And then with the hands, just very gently press back and apart. And let the hands do the movement and let the leg muscles, the inner thighs at least, be kind of relaxed. Yeah. And then from here, as this is happening, can you root down through the inner heels? And imagine you could reach the inner heels back as you lengthen the front of the spine and move the chest forward. Yes, this is how it looks on the slide. All right, we're going to do another version of this. Let's back off, just let the forearms rest on the thighs. This time press out through the upper thighs. Keep that tone the belly. Inhale your way up, you stand tall. And exhale, the arms release. Yeah, so this next one, we'll do that again and we'll add on and it'll turn into more of a calf stretch. So let's go get one block. We'll be at the back of the mat. Have the block on high, maybe like 2 feet in front of you. Yeah, so we'll resume this position. Feet just a little wider than you normally stand. Knees bend, hips draw back, forearms crisscross, hands to the upper inner thighs, forearms rest on the tops of the legs. Press the hands back and apart. Root down and back through the heels as you move the chest forward. Knees are a little bit bent. Yeah. Now in a second, we'll let go of the hands and put them on the block, but keep this idea of the inner groins moving back and apart and staying somewhat relaxed as you find the block with your hands. The knees stay bent. Start to scoogee the block forward as much as you can. And then let's press out the upper thighs. Can you reach down and back through the inner heels as you move the chest forward? That's it. Now wiggle the block forward again. This time go straighter in the legs. Still press out through the upper thighs. The inner groins roll back. Reach down and back through the inner heels. Now here we'll ditch the block. Go onto your fingertips. Heels stay down. So that'll limit how far you go. Like an itsy bitsy spider, we go forward until you can't anymore. And then again, the inner groins draw back and apart. Upper thighs press out. Press down and reach back through the inner heels. If you're still on your spider fingers, go onto flat hands. Keep the heels down and maybe go a little further. Oh, it's kind of a shorty downward facing dog. Can you keep all those actions in the legs? And without moving your hands, do that external rotation like you're trying to turn the fingers out as the outer shoulders hug in. Oh, yogis, that's a lot going on. Let's get out of this. Just a child's pose. You can lift the heels, set the knees down. Come on down and let's take a block under the forehead, any height that you want it. Let the forehead rest and just take a little side to side, just like that. All right. And then from here, let's reset. We'll just come up to sit. You can swing the legs around. Yeah. And just to circle out the wrist a little bit. Anything, any way you want to do this is fine. Yeah. Let's do this. Take the arms forward, thumbs on the inside, fingers over the thumbs, and then just bend at the wrist so the knuckles go down. Yeah, it's a little stretch through the back of the forearm. All right, undo that, wiggle out the fingers. And next we'll come down, let's have one block at the lowest height with the edge of the block right at the base of the skull. So right where the head and the neck meet in the back. Just ease your way down. And then once you have it set, just the tiniest amount, let the chin dip down and try to relax the place right behind the ears. You can even put your fingers there. There's a little bony spot. Try to relax that. And slowly let your head start to turn from side to side, like you're saying no. Now the next direction I'll give you is kind of a strange one. So let's pause with the head in the middle. And then you're not going to push hard, but what we want to do is kind of trap the skin in between your head and the block and let the head slide a little to the right. It's not going to go that far. Yeah, and then let it slide a little to the left. You can imagine the way a lizard moves its head. Do that a few times. One side, other side. And then we'll pause and go back one more time into our head rolls. From side to side we go. And the next time we head over to the right, let's pause. And take a tiny little, either a knot or a circle, maybe the size of a marble. It's really little. That's it. And then we'll go other side. The left, and either a little nod or a little circle. Whatever feels good there, yeah. All right. And then let's let that one go. Bring the head to center. You can remove the block and just reset yourself back down again. And take another head turn here, side to side, and just notice how that feels now, not being on the block. We'll pause here. Take the feet about as wide as your mat and let the knees drop over to the right as the head turns left. And then we'll come back up to the center and go the other direction. And if this is feeling too pulley on the inner thigh there, either just skip it entirely or make it really, really small. Yes, yogis. Let's do one more thing here. So we'll pause in the center with the legs and the head. Interlace your fingers and hold the back of the head with your hands. Stretch the legs out long on the floor. And then we'll turn our body into a big crescent shape. So let's slide the feet over to the left and slide the upper body so the left elbow goes towards the feet and the right elbow reaches towards the wall behind you. Yeah, don't go so much that you're lifted off the floor. You want to be able to relax the arms down. And if anybody enjoys this, you could try crossing the right ankle over the left
Or some people prefer the opposite, left ankle over the right. For me, I don't like either of them, so you can join me if you want to with the feet side by side. And then to get out of this, let's return to center. Take a breath. And then into side two we go. So find that the feet slide towards the right, right elbow goes down, left elbow goes up. And of course, Mary, if you need to do different on this side, maybe one side is a bigger movement than the other, that's fine. For anybody, the leg cross you can do or not do. If anybody has the feet hooked, let's undo that first. And then reset yourself, just coming back to center and take a glance down and make sure you're in the middle. Sometimes we end up a little crooked after that. You can release the arms. Yeah. Take a moment here. And if you're perfectly happy to be in this shape for Shavasana, stay exactly as you are. And if you need to make any adjustments at all, take the time to make yourself comfortable for this final resting pose. We did a lot of work today in the hands. Can you relax the hands, forearms? Relax all the musculature around the shoulders, the shoulder blades, the collarbones, the neck. That little place right behind the ears. Can you relax that too? Imagine the back of your head becoming a little broader, taking up a little more space. Take a deeper, fuller breath. And if it feels good, you can add in another head roll, side to side. Maybe a stretch of the arms, the legs, some circles in the wrists, the ankles. Yes, friends, when you're ready, let the knees bend. And very gently roll yourself up to sitting. Take hands right at heart center. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.